Why don't we go ahead and use that as a transition to get into the schedule and tell you where we exactly think those wins are going to come from and where the losses are going to come from. Looking at the Colts schedule this season, they kick off at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The remainder of September is at Houston. Then on the road, they finish out the month at the Ravens. In October, they're at home against the Rams, at home against the Titans. They go on the road to play the Jags. Then they are at home against the Browns and Saints. In November, they go to Carolina. They play the Patriots in Germany. Then they close out the month against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In December, they're at the Titans, at the Bengals, at home against the Steelers, at the Falcons, and then at home against the Raiders. And then in January, they finish out the season at home against the Texans. So when I look at their schedule, I've got three kind of categories here. I've got wins, losses, and swing games. So games that I think could go either way. The wins that I'm confident in wins at Houston. I'm confident in a win against the Rams. No clue what to make of them right now. I have no idea what to expect from the LA Rams. What's that?
Don't sleep on the Rams.
No, I mean, I think the Rams can be good. I just don't know what to think about.
The injury bug bit the Rams.
It really did, and I have no idea what to make of them. I think they'll beat the Buccaneers. I think they'll beat the Falcons. And I think they'll beat Houston. So I think they sweep Houston, they beat the Rams, they beat the Bucs, and they beat the Falcons. So there are my wins right there. Their losses. So that's what? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins that I have them at right now. Their losses. I think they lose both games to the Jaguars. The Jaguars were the division winners. The Colts can't win in week 1. And they can't win at Jacksonville. So there's 2 losses right there. I think they lose both games against the Titans. The Titans are going to be, those are the Jags and Titans are going to be the teams battling for the division. So I think they lose. I think they go 2-4 in the division this year, winning both games against the Texans and losing the games against everybody else. They lose at the Ravens. They lose at home against the Browns. They lose at home against the Saints. The Saints are one of those teams that were, one of the better pass defenses a year ago. They lose at the Bengals, and they lose at home against the Steelers, another team that they can't ever seem to beat, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The swing games are at Carolina, in Germany against the New England Patriots, and against the Raiders. So I have the Colts honestly solidly at 6-11. I think their ceiling is 8-9. Those 3 swing games, I have Indy losing the Frank Reich revenge game at Carolina because I can already see Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I can see that going crazy, with fans. I mean, whether or not you agree or disagree, there are going to be people on Twitter that are saying, "Oh, the Colts should have kept Frank Reich. See, we told you." And guess what? You could probably go through their tweet history and see all the ones wanting the Colts to fire Frank Reich last year. So I already know. I mean, and look, I'm rooting for Frank Reich. I think the Panthers have a possibility of being decent this year. So I do think that the Colts lose the Frank Reich revenge game, but I could see that game going either way. So, I mean, if that switches to a win, there's 7 wins right now. I think the Colts lose in Germany. It's Bill Belichick going up against a rookie quarterback, so that's usually not a very good, that's not really a very good omen. But who knows what the Pats look like, and those international games are always a little weird, with how they play out. So who knows? Who knows what would happen? And I think the Colts can beat the Raiders at home, but that's in no way a gimme, because on the one hand, you think, with as bad as the Colts were last year, they won in the first game of the Jeff Saturday era last year in Las Vegas. It was also a game that 2 years ago with Carson Wentz, the Colts almost won against the Raiders. So who knows what the Raiders will be like.
That Raiders team's going to be Aiden O'Connell led at Las Vegas Raiders by that time.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it could go. Those games could go either way. I have the Colts beating the Raiders, but who knows? So I think you can talk yourself into 6, 7, 8 wins. I have them at 6-11, and I think 6-11 is a little bit more realistic.
So I will say I have the Colts at 4-13. I'm not as optimistic as you. So I honestly believe the Colts start off the season 0-4. They don't get their first win, and I'll say it's going to be a surprise win. They get their first win week 5 at home against the Tennessee Titans. I feel like the Tennessee Titans are they play right into the favor of like what the Colts are capable of defending the best. I don't think Derrick Henry is the same player as he was. And yeah, I think just that Lucas Oil Stadium, I have confidence that could be their first win. I don't have any faith in them beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think the Colts will win week 2 at NRG Stadium. Look, last year they did everything in their power to not win that game. And they ended up with a tie.
You mean
at
the Texans?
Houston. Yeah.
The Jaguars at first.
No, I know. I said I don't have any faith in beating the Jaguars. Okay. And then that's what I said. I don't think they can go in NRG Stadium and get the win like last year. They did everything possible there to not win that game. See, I do have them beating. I go back and forth. One of my swing games is against the Cleveland Browns. Do not know what you're going to get with that team, but for now, I'm going to say that's a loss. I do have them beating the Saints. Actually, let me make sure I got that one. I got it all right. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I had all my numbers correct. But yes, I do have them. I have them losing to the Browns. I have them beating the Saints at home. I have them losing to the Carolina Panthers on the road. I don't think the Colts are going to be a very good road team this year. Just FYI. Don't be surprised if the Colts go over on the road. Losing in Germany, which when you have a team that's contending for a high draft pick, this is an awful opportunity. You want to actually show up really well on the big stage overseas. That's going to be bad. I have them winning at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay hasn't figured out their quarterback situation yet. Are they starting Baker Mayfield?
I think they've officially named Baker.
Oh, Baker?
I think, yeah.
Well, either way, Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, neither one of those are great options. So I have them winning there. I do have them losing at Tennessee, at Cincinnati, home against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's going to be a good team this year. Watch out for that team. Another toss-up game I do have them losing this, though. If there was a road game that the Colts have an opportunity to win, I think it is in Atlanta. That's another one of those teams, not sure what to expect. They're going to be playing Desmond Ridder this year at quarterback. A lot of question marks around that team, but I still give Atlanta the win there over the Colts. On my birthday, December 31st, against the Las Vegas Raiders at home, I do have the Raiders winning that game. But by then, Jimmy Garoppolo will be injured again, and Aiden O'Connell will be starting, and I will want to go to that game just to see Aiden O'Connell play. And then I have them finishing out the season with a win over the Houston Texans at Lucas Oil Stadium, because why not? That puts them at 4 wins. That keeps them at the under safely with the under 4.5. It like I said, I mean, I think it could be I don't think they go any lower than 3 wins. I think 3 is the basement, is the floor. But honestly, then it could be as high as 7 wins, in my opinion. I mean, the Cleveland Browns game is winnable. The New Orleans Saints game is winnable. The Carolina Panthers game, winnable. I mean, and then, even opening the week 2 at Houston is potentially winnable. However, Houston's going to be much improved with CJ Stroud at quarterback.
Yeah, I think honestly, I'll say this. I think even if you think the Colts are going to go 3-14 or 4-13 or 7-10 or 8-9 or 6-11, whatever it is, I think I do have confidence that this season will look at least. I'm thinking this season will at least give you some cause for hope. We'll show
Yes,
you
it
some
will.
good things and be like, okay, you know what? We're on track.
Don't
We're on track
don't
for
look at the
something.
record this year.
No,
Don't look at the record. It's
no.
not about the record this year. What I want to see out of this team is I want to see the moments that between the young players connecting. Okay, the light switch seems to have flipped for Anthony Richardson. All right, we are seeing that breakout year from Alec Pierce. Okay, the young secondary is coming together and performing at a higher level. It's all about looking at how well they perform. If they're competitive in every single one of their games, that is great news. That's as good as winning the Super Bowl this year, because that shows you this team has a bright future. I would rather have heartbreaking losses because the Colts were right there up until the end than mediocre games where you squeaked one out and you squeaked enough out that you didn't make the playoffs, but you're not getting a good draft pick. And you're
Seeing a
just like,
field goal
you're
fest
still
on
left with
Thursday
so
night.
many questions. You just don't know. Like, can this team be better than that? I would rather be competitive and rack up the losses and think, okay, the future is bright with this young team, because your young team is going to take its bumps. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. I just don't want to see a non-competitive team lose a lot of games, because that's hopeless. And I don't want to see a bumbling team that just isn't good enough to win a lot of games, but not bad enough to lose a lot of games. It's just kind of like a mess. Pretty much like what we've seen the past few years from this Colts team. If the Colts look like they have when Carson Wentz was the quarterback, we're in trouble. That's how you know we're in trouble. I don't want to see that. I want to see competent competition, even if it means we lose.
I mean, the spins are on that is obviously if they're in the middle of the draft order or whatever, it means that they were winning games, and that's going to be because of Anthony Richardson, because of Josh Downs, because of Alec Pierce, because of Michael Pittman. It's going to because of the defense. It's going to be because
I don't think I phrased that correctly. It will be good if the Colts are picking in like the 12 range. I'm okay with that, especially if you saw growth from the start of the season to the end. Like if they win more games on the back end of the season, I'm okay with that. I just don't want to see like we saw with the Carson Wentz season, where it was like start off strong, hyped up, okay, and then just completely the wheels fall off at the end of the season. I don't want to see that. That's what I'm meaning by having that mediocre record that gets you just missed the playoffs and you're in the middle of the pack of the draft. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. But if they play up, things gel and they just missed the playoffs and they're playing well, and it's because they stumbled out of the gate a little bit because of the young players, but they progressively got better as the season went on. I'm okay with that too. I am 100% okay. I just don't want to see, like I said, a Carson Wentz style season.
Yeah, and hopefully we won't get that. I think there is some cause for optimism for sure.